Welcome to another compilation of scams that were just doomed to failure.
Coucou, said Henri Dupont to Annie. Pardon, she said. Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Bien, j'espère, he said. I don't speak French, said Annie. OK, he said. How are you? Fine, I hope. I'm good, thanks, said Annie. I am Monsieur Henri Dupont, he said. I'm a commercial executive, and I'm also in the sale of vehicles. But for the moment, I only work on my pages. I have my containers in destination Greece, that I will go cleared, and finally come to set up my own business here. I'm Portuguese father and Belgian mother. I'm here in Belgium to rebuild my life. Exactly the sort of thing you tell someone when you've literally just met them online. What pages are you working on? Asked Annie. I'm working on my new sales page, he said, that I'm creating for the sales publications of my new cars, which are for Greece. OK. Talk to me a little about yourself, he said. I work on the checkouts at a supermarket, said Annie. I'm looking for a woman I can trust and share the rest of my life with, he said. OK, said Annie. I'm not looking for a relationship, because she'd already decided that she couldn't be bothered talking to someone who couldn't even write a proper sentence. Why? He said. Can you explain to me a little? Because I'm not, she said. Or did you have a disappointment? In love? He said. Again, exactly the sort of thing you ask a lady you've just met, literally. Mind your own business, said Annie. Goodbye. If I was badly spoken, you excuse me, he said. Knowledge is made only once. Hello, he said a few days later, when she ignored him. Oh, said Annie, it's you again. Yes, I did something wrong, he said. You don't want us to get to know each other well? No, said Annie, you're rude. How I grew up, he said. Let me see some pics of you. No, said Annie, my picture's on here, unlike yours. He was using a picture of a dog. So he sent her 2 photographs of a man, and that was kind of the beginning of the end, because the second one was in a street. Now tell me what all that garbled rubbish was about Greece, Belgium and Portugal, said Annie. I didn't understand a word of it. Where do you live? I'm here in Belgium, he said. And you? I'm in England, said Annie. And then she thought he'd tried to call her. Actually, he hadn't. It was somebody real calling me on my own Facebook account. So then Annie had to make an excuse and say, I heard a noise but couldn't work out where it was coming from. Oh no, it was my friend calling, not you. Where were those photos taken? Well, you'd think you'd remember where you took your own photos. And in fact, if you've taken them on your phone and you've got your location turned on, it'll tell you. OK, he said. Where were your photos taken? She asked again. I took my photos in different corners, he said. Meaning? Said Annie. Different corners of what? Where was the one with the cars taken? Some photos were taken in Belgium, he said. Others in France, in different European countries, which is a sure giveaway that he's stolen a set of photos from somewhere and has no idea whose photos he was stolen or where they were taken. There were only 2, said Annie. Where was the one with the cars taken? I talk about everything but photos that are in my gallery, he said. Another indication that he had no idea where they were taken. Where was that photo with the cars taken? Asked Annie again. If you can't or won't tell me, I'll assume you're just a time-wasting idiot. Why are you angry? Asked our time-wasting idiot. Don't know today I took my pictures, so you gotta understand me. Another common phrase used by the scammers when you've caught them out and they have no idea what they're talking about. Italy, he finally said. So you are a time-wasting idiot, said Annie. I thought so. Everyone knows where their photos were taken. Goodbye. You don't understand yourself at all, he said. I understand myself very well, thanks, said Annie. Where in Italy was that photo taken? I took this photo in Italy, he said. It seems to me that I already have them. Anyway, I think it doesn't matter now that I speak to you in all sincerity. Ha ha. I added that. And I would like to be able to speak to you every day, if you want, of course. Where in Italy? Asked Annie, one word at a time, in uppercase letters. I did not understand your message, he said. Speak a little more clearly. I use a translator to speak to you. Where in Italy was that photograph taken? Which town were you in? She asked. What exactly you want? He said. We've already talked about all this. No, we haven't already talked about all this, said Annie. You haven't told me. So I'll ask you for the final time, where in Italy was that photograph taken? Which town were you in? You have a count of 10 to answer me. And so she did one of those infamous counts of 10, and, as you can see, our man never read the messages and disappeared. This next story was sent to me by a viewer who, as you can see, was talking to none other than Johnny Depp. The scam that he tried to pull on her is quite a common one for these fake celebrities to try and pull. So just take note. If someone that you know believes they're talking to a celebrity, is this the kind of thing that fake celebrity is asking them for? Morning, said my viewer. How are you doing? Asked Johnny Depp. Fine, replied my viewer. I hope you have gotten my card, he said, because you're the best fans I have never seen. Your card? Asked my viewer. I'm talking about my Men Baship card, he said. You should have gotten Men Baship card by now. What membership card? Asked my viewer. Hope you have gotten my fan card, said our man. If you do have a title to be ending salary every 2 weeks, $5,000 by my management. Okay? Please feel free to leave suggested translations in the comments below. I do not know what a fan card even is, said my viewer, who definitely doesn't have $5,000 every 2 weeks. But I pray that one day God will open your eyes to believe that I'm the one you're talking with Johnny Depp. I've been trying to let you understand that you're talking to me, ? Said Johnny Depp. LMAO, said my viewer. I'm talking to you. However, I've never heard of a fan card. Want to tell me what it is? Hi, he said. Hello, said my viewer. Want to tell me what a fan card is? Are you there, he asked. Yes, she said, and clearly she's been watching too many of my videos. Want to answer my question? Or are you going to go away again for days passing? Why are you saying that? Said our offended scammer, as they always do. Going away for what reason? Just because I'm always busy with my project. Because I've asked you a question, said my viewer, and you haven't yet given me the answer to it. Having my fan card, he said, is very important in the life of all my lovely fans, for those who are supporting me? ? I do not have one, said my viewer, and cannot find a card called Fan Club. Oh my God, he said. What can of humans be? Sorry, guys. What can of humans been? You try to understand me, okay? And I just had to make that little graphic. I couldn't resist. Okay, said my viewer. Where'd you get this fan card? I meant fan card, not club. You keep saying it, and I cannot find it. To which Johnny Depp replied, Here's my card. Okay? Okay, said my viewer. So you're going to send it to? Is that why you asked if I have one? Yes, he said. That's why I'll ask you, okay? When you get my fans card, my management will be paying you a sum of $5,000 every 2 weeks. Okay, said my viewer. Glad we have that settled. So you're going to pay my son $5,000 every 2 weeks when I get your card. I'm sure he'll like that. After you got my fan card, replied our man, who had no idea what he'd said and therefore no idea what my viewer was talking about, you will be paying every 2 weeks. But the card is just only $1,500 only. You will pay to my management account after that. There will send you card. LMAO, said my viewer. I think you're full of a barrel of lies. I can't force you. Okay, said our scammer, probably realising he wasn't about to get anything. It's for your own benefit. Okay, God has blessed me. I'm not after your money. No, obviously not. No, it's not, said my viewer. It's so I'll believe what you're saying, and I will send you money because you want me to think you're Johnny Depp. However, I know as well as you're not Johnny. I can't kill myself for you to believe me, he said, because of what for who you are, or what rather I will give you. Till God come down in heaven, you will know that I may who I am. Because you don't believe yourself, how will you believe I am Johnny? He continued. You can't even type a correct sentence with the proper words, said my viewer. I'd say you're in Nigeria, because your sentence makes no sense. I, however, understand broken English. Johnny Depp does not speak broken English. I know who I am. You speak broken English. To which our broken man replied, I can't force you to believe me. I don't have enough time with you, because I'm always busy. Extend my greetings to your family. And then he blocked her, and my viewer just tried replying, LMAO, no, I do not know who you are, so I'll pass. And that was the end of our fake Johnny Depp. John Harvey, and I apologise for the pronunciation, thought he'd try his scintillating conversational skills on Denise. Hello, Denise, he said. How are you today? Permit me to say you've got such a lovely smile. That's very kind of you, said Denise. How are you? And how was your night? He asked. I'm very well, thanks, said Denise. How was your night? The following morning, he came back. Great, he said. And you? Good morning, said Denise. Is there a reason why you sent me a friend request? Good morning, Denise. How was your night? Is that your only conversation? She said. Did you really send me a friend request so you can keep asking how my night was? Who do you think I am? I don't work at nights. Do you? Do? Sorry about that, he said. Where are you from? I live in Guildford in the south of England. Where do you live? I'm from Vancouver, Canada, but currently I work in United Arab Emirates. What work do you do? Asked Denise. I'm a petrochemical engineer. I don't know what a petrochemical engineer does. What do you do? Our man felt a bit of copying and pasting was in order. A petroleum engineer designs, develops and improves ways to get gas and oil deposits from below the ground's surface. They find new avenues to retrieve gas and oil from older wells and offer their technical advice. No, said Denise, I asked what you do, not Google's description of a petrochemical engineer. What do you actually do? I do installation of field equipment, he said. Denise felt some deliberate misunderstanding coming on. OK, she said, whatever that means. Sounds like tractors and harvesters to me. You know, everyone has its own field of job here, he said. I don't even know what that means, said Denise. You mean you work on your own and don't liaise with anyone else in a field? What kind of field? Arable? Grazing? Fallow? I work on a freelance, he said. What's a freelance? Asked Denise. Is that a kind of farm in the UAE? Do you grow crops? Our man didn't like that, and he blocked Denise. He was replaced by Patrick Louis, who thought he'd try his luck with Flora. Hello, he said. How are you? Good afternoon, said Flora. I'm fine, thanks. Do I know you? You don't have to know me to talk to me, he said. You get to know people and make new friends. I'll assume that means no, you don't know me, replied Flora. I was just wondering why you sent me a friend request. It sounded as if you thought you knew me. I don't know you, he said, but your profile is so captivating. That's very kind of you, said Flora. You're welcome, he said. Hope you're having a nice day. I'm just chilling with a glass of rosé wine, said Flora. If only, said I. Are you having a nice day? Good to know, he said. Hectic day for me. Oh, said Flora. What are you doing? I'm going through some, guess what, papers and email, because I have a contract presentation on Monday. You know, those contracts. I hate deadlines, said Flora. I'm sure you'll be fine. What kind of contract are you presenting? Sure, he said. And then, having no idea what kind of contract he was presenting, he thought he'd better get out of here very quickly. So he said, We're going to talk about that later today. Oh, OK. Goodbye for now, said Flora. You'd better finish your presentation. Thank you, said our relieved scammer. You're so sweet. Hello, he said, in the middle of the night. Good morning, said Flora the next day. Morning, dear. How did you sleep? I tossed and turned all night, she said. How did you sleep? I turned all night, he said. Your profile says you're single. Are you? I am, yes, she said. Did you manage to finish your presentation? And fairly shortly, you're going to wish she hadn't even bothered to ask him. Still working on it, he said. Good to know. I'm also single. You didn't tell me what your presentation is about, she said. It's about
A skyscraper building. What do you do for work? I'm retired, she said. I was a secretary in a firm of solicitors in Guildford. Why are you making a presentation about a skyscraper? I'm a contractor, he said. That's the reason I'm making a presentation for skyscraper. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the definition of a contractor. Someone who makes a presentation for a skyscraper. I work with Turner Construction here in Manhattan. Can I have your number? I know you're a contractor, said Flora. That doesn't tell me what you do, does it? And no, you can't have my number. As a contractor, he said, I specialise on building of house, construction of road and bridge. I also build mall, skyscraper, and so on. You keep telling me you're a contractor, said Flora. That isn't a job description. I assume from what you said that you're a builder, because he said he specialises in building of houses, etc. Are you a brickie, a plasterer, an electrician, a heating engineer? What do you actually do in Manhattan? I'm a civil engineer, he said. Getting closer, replied Flora. What do you do as a civil engineer in Manhattan? I'm into construction as civil engineer, he said. So you are a builder, said Flora. Like I said, if you aren't a brickie, plasterer, electrician or heating engineer, maybe you're a plumber or labourer, or do you construct buildings out of Lego? To which our man replied, I plan, design, construct, maintain infrastructure, projects and systems in the public and private sector, including roads, buildings, airports, tunnels, dam, which he can't spell, bridges and systems for water supply. You can't be a building designer and a builder, said Flora. Tell me what you do in Manhattan. We've narrowed it down to you construct buildings. We now know you aren't a brickie, plaster or any of the other things I've mentioned. I don't work on site, he said. How do you do remote construction? Asked Flora. Using a robot? Listen, he said. As a building contractor, once you get a contract, then you get your team to get it done. The best way to explain this is, guess what? Go on Google and search for Turner Construction Company. Then you'll know what is a civil engineer. The best way, replied Flora, to explain it is for you, who actually does the job, to explain it, not Google. Assume you do know what your own job involves. I certainly used to know what I did when I was working. Not once ever was I rude enough to tell someone to Google my job. And don't tell me to listen. If you explained your job properly, then I would know what you do. So grow up and explain it and stop acting like a toddler, or go away. I already explained to you, said our flustered toddler. Goodbye, said Flora. A proper explanation of what you do, or go away, because you're starting to sound like an idiotic kid who's making up ridiculous stories. And there is a reason why I've put this one in, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with it, we're almost there. I'm going away, he said. And, she continued, who has absolutely no idea what they do at work. Good. Goodbye, idiot. Thank you, replied our man. You're welcome, said Flora. Go and try to scam someone your own age. To which our man replied, and here comes the punchline, guys. Piss of shit. Nice language, said Flora. You fool, he said. And for the record, she added, if you're pissing shit, you're in real trouble. I suggest you go and visit a doctor. Our man didn't like that, and as you can probably see, he blocked Flora. And then along came Robert Mallon. He also thought he'd try his luck with Flora. How are you doing today? He asked. Good morning, said Flora, to which our man replied with 2 question marks. It's morning, said Flora. Which bit of good morning didn't you understand? OK, he said. How is the weather over there? Wet, she said. OK, so where are you from? I live near Glastonbury in England. Where do you live? She asked. OK, good. I'm from Elgin, Illinois, but currently working here in Ireland. So are you married or single? Do you have children? I'm divorced, said Flora, and I have an adult daughter. Where are you in Ireland? OK, he said. I'm a single dad with 1 granddaughter named Stephanie. I have a granddaughter, replied Flora, Crystal. She lives in India with her boyfriend. Oh, good, he said. Whatever that means, said Flora. So, what do you do for a living? He asked. I'm retired. I was a secretary for a firm of solicitors in Woking. What do you do? That's a good job, he said. I'm a field service engineer. What does that mean? Asked Flora. So, how long have you been working there now before you retire? He asked. I was there for 22 years, she said. OK, So, can we be friends, he asked. You haven't told me what a field service engineer does. So, our man thought he'd hit Google. Google informed him, as a field service engineer, you're the face of the company. Your job is to keep equipment running and be able to troubleshoot and fix machines. In some companies, service is the most profitable and important division. In order to be a good field service engineer, you must know and understand electronics, computers, sometimes networking, pneumatic, air-driven systems, some electrical basics, mechanics, be able to take things apart and reassemble them, think logically like a machine, and figure out why it's doing what it's doing, and trace down problems. You also perform upgrades, preventive maintenance, and the occasional field-wide fix to a known issue. You will constantly be challenged, have to think for yourself, something that clearly this scammer is going to fail on. You work mostly by yourself, which sometimes can make you feel disconnected with what's going on in the company. Okay, said Flora, what do you do? I was hoping you'd tell me what you do, rather than copy and paste a definition from Quora. To which our man replied, I'm an engineer. Yes, said Flora, but what do you do? Who do you work for? What are you working on now? What kind of engineer are you? I am ring engineer, he said. You mean you're a jeweller? Asked Flora. Yes, he said. So what was all that twaddle you copied from Quora supposed to mean? You do know what a jeweller does. I think that you said that I should show you the meaning of engineer, he said. You told me you were a field engineer, said Flora, so I asked you what that meant. But now you've told me you're a jeweller, so I'll ask you again, do you know what a jeweller does? And if you do, why did you lie and tell me you're a field service engineer? I'm not lying to you, he said. Well, one of them's a lie, said Flora. Which is it? Do you know what a jeweller does? And so our man thought he'd call Flora and explain. The audio quality was really bad, and it was very difficult to hear him, so I've only included extracts from the conversation, which didn't last for very long anyway. Hello? Oh, now I can hear you. You work in a ring. So why did you tell me you're a jeweller?
Yeah.
Why did you tell me that you are a jeweller?
Yeah, I work in a ring. Said what?
Why did you tell me that you are a jeweller?
That's my friend, DJ. That's my friend.
Do you know what a jeweller does? You told me that you are a jeweller.
I don't know what is that. I don't know. I really don't understand what they are saying about.
Tell me what you really do.
It's the keyboard. It's not. It's a keyboard of my phone. It's a mistake. Okay. Yeah, it was a mistake.
You work in a ring. What's a ring?
I said.
What
I work here
is
I said I work here in the ring.
You must know. You've told me you work there. What is a ring?
A ring means that someone who works in the sea. I work here in the sea. If you really want to know that, you're going to check on Google.
At that point, I think our dopey scammer completely conked out. What is a ring? She asked, after the call had ended. I'm a ring engineer. She copied and pasted that bit. What is a ring? And why won't you tell me? Just go to Google, and he will tell you what that means, replied our flustered ring engineer. No, said Flora, I'm talking to you. You can tell me. And I just did go to Google, and Google doesn't know either, so please tell me yourself. I know. Why don't you go to Google, and then he will tell you what that means? And don't be rude. Stop acting like a hurt little boy. You're supposed to be a mature adult. If you want me to tell you, send me your email address. I will not tell you yet, he said, frantically hoping that the boss might come along and help him out of the hole that he dug himself into. Tell me now, or go away, said Flora, and stop behaving like a child. Or are you just one of those brain-dead, idiotic scammers you hear about all the time?
What do you mean by that?
Said our brain-dead, idiotic scammer. Exactly what I said, replied Flora. 1, please tell me what a ring engineer is, now. 2, stop behaving like a spoilt, hurt little boy. 3, you hear all the time about idiotic scammers with the mental age of a toddler, pretending to be adults. Are you one of them?
I said I can't tell you now. We haven't got to know each other. So why are you asking me all these? We just started chatting.
You can't tell me what you do for work, said Flora, and I don't want to get to know you. Goodbye. You were quite happy to ask me what I did. Seems you're just a creep who stalks women, tries to find out about them, but won't answer the same questions yourself. So you have one last chance. Grow up, act like a mature man, and tell me what is a ring engineer, or go away. That man made his choice and said, OK, bye. I hope you enjoyed this collection of useless ne'er-do-wells whose scams were going nowhere. If you did, please like it, please share it, please comment down below, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another video.